Arms up, hands down.
Good evening, and thank you for joining Unsinkable's Youth Back to School event. I'm Dave Jones, President of Sun Life Health. Sun Life and Unsinkable have been partners since 2020, right at the start of the pandemic, because we share a passion for mental health and for supporting people to access the care that they need. The pandemic brought on the need for greater dialogue around mental health, to openly discuss the challenges faced by youth and their families, and to strengthen our communities and relationships to improve mental well-being. The topic of today's event is so timely and needed. Youth are our future. They are the change makers of tomorrow, the next generation of healthcare heroes. They will go on to design, create, and build extraordinary things and to push the limits of what's possible. We're here today because we collectively understand the value of our youth. We're here because we know that now is the time to invest and to act. So why is talking about mental health so important to me and to Sun Life? Because mental health is just health. Just like how we take care of our body when we're sick, we need to take care of our minds too. At Sun Life, we are very focused on improving the physical and mental health of Canadians. It's who we are. It's part of our purpose. We are committed to supporting proactive and preventive health and wellness programs that build stronger, healthier, and more inclusive communities. As a parent of 2 teenage boys, I know how tough it can be to start a new school year together. The stress and anxiety of a new routine, new classes, and even new groups of friends. Attending an event like this one today is a great step to ensuring we're doing everything we can to support ourselves and our loved ones. So thanks for being here, and thank you to the youth who are taking action on their own mental health and well-being. Together, we can build a stronger, more resilient Canada, one young person at a time.
Friends and family, welcome to the Unsinkable's Back to School mental health event. We're happy to have you here join us in a vital conversation, harnessing storytelling, exploring the link between mental health and the back to school transition. Through our panelists' experiences, we aim to educate, challenge stigmas, and highlight support for youth at the early stages of schooling. So if you're ready, let's get right into it. First things first, I want to open this event by acknowledging the Indigenous peoples for all the lands of which we currently meet on a virtual platform here today. I would like to acknowledge the land and consider the Indigenous nations with whom you share territories and responsibilities with. Today, I'm hosting this session from Toronto, which is the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. Today, Toronto is the home of many Indigenous, First Nation, Inuit, and Métis people from across Turtle Island. We are grateful to have the opportunity to work and live in this territory. We also offer this acknowledgement as a stepping stone towards honoring the original occupants, a testimony of the oppression faced by Indigenous peoples, and our commitment to the Indigenous communities. Next, we're going to start off with a very, very special welcome message from 4-time Olympic medalist and the founder of Unsinkable, Silken Lauman. Silken has spent a whole lifetime chasing dreams, overcoming obstacles, and meeting challenges head on. She is a mental health advocate and founded Unsinkable because she deeply believes in the power of sharing lived experiences. So now let's send it over to our Olympic champion for a quick word.
Hi, my name is Silken Lauman. I'm a 4-time Olympian, the founder of Unsinkable, and a mother of 2 children and 2 stepkids. I'm so happy to be putting on this event on behalf of Unsinkable and Sun Life. It's really important. There's a lot of excitement around back to school, but I certainly remember back to school, especially as a mom, as one of the most stressful times of the year. It was the time of the forms, the time where kids were adjusting to new classrooms and who were their friends and, you know, all sorts of routines. Those beautiful rhythms of summer, you know, where there's just so much more time to be spontaneous and to play and to enjoy the weather and the lake and all those things. those are over, and now we're back into a lot of pressure, and it can be an incredibly difficult adjustment for children, for teenagers, for young adults, and for parents. So what can we do? I think the first thing is to recognize this is a stressful time. I think it's the number one most stressful time of the year, and to maybe manage our expectations a little bit, that we don't have to get everything done right away. You know, the back to school shopping can wait till a little bit later. You know, every form doesn't have to be filled out perfectly. We don't have to volunteer for everything. You know, all those kind of things that just add stresses. So like, let the stress off a little bit. And also to understand that Unsinkable is here for you. Whether you're a young person struggling with that back to school adjustment, maybe feeling a lot of anxiety about the new social situations, about getting into middle school, whether you've graduated from high school and you've started university, and like me, you could just never find your classes because the university is huge and there's all that stress. So at Unsinkable, we really want to acknowledge it's a wonderful time going back to school. It can be really exciting, but it's really stressful, and we're here to help.
Knowing the power of story is absolutely super powerful and super known. Our next video introduces someone very, very special to Unsinkable, Manny Williams. She's sharing an Unsinkable youth story that is sure to inspire you today. Let's have a look.
My name is Manny and I'm 17. As I'm sure it's been the same with most high school students, over the years I've had to deal with the effects of school stress on my mental health, especially as I've gotten older and the pressure to constantly succeed has seemingly increased. Reshifting negative thinking patterns surrounding perfectionism is a continuous challenge. I find that it can be hard to prioritize my well-being in competitive environments, whether that be academically or co-curricularly. Trying to internalize that good enough really is good enough is definitely more complex than it sounds. One thing that has helped me is remembering that everyone is trying their best and is focused on themselves most of the time. This often helps relieve my stress and anxiety, as a reminder gives me the freedom to assess what it is that I truly need for my own well-being and what's realistic for me aside from what others are doing and what I think they might be expecting of me. Through my experiences, I've found that I can be my best self towards others when I've first taken care of myself. As best said by Air Canada, put your own oxygen mask on first.
I'm back. So here we are, surrounded by the magic of storytelling, and I want to welcome you once again for joining me, Marcus Smith, as your event facilitator for today. Today's event aims to bring candid discussion to life with the optimistic focus of hope and healing. With strategies and resources that support youth in navigating mental health at the core, this event acts as a guide of which families will learn how to facilitate a conversation that normalizes the youth experience. So I'm sure many of you guys are actually wondering exactly who I am. So who is Marcus Smith? Well, I have a simple and clear answer to answer your curiosity. Humble and cultured, what you see is what you get. As a content creator, I continue to build a motivated community and create viral energy and a vibe that is truly alive. For me, every message is a statement of intent and an added new piece to a puzzle that I'm looking to solve every single day. With visually captivating videos and powerful messaging delivered through both a podcast and a clothing brand known as Rise Above, the goal is quite clear and quite simple. Failure opens doors to a realization that extends far beyond our capabilities and comfort, as it shows us who we are meant to be and the power we have to change our circumstances. All right, now that you know who I am, we're going to get going. We're going to get started. So we know where we are, we know what we will be doing, and now it's time to meet who will be a part of the positive discussion to come. So with that being said, in order to set the table, this important conversation needs one of the following things. We're going to take a few seconds here to conduct a breathing exercise to center ourselves and present with a calm mind. Let's take it away.
Coming into stillness. Take some moments to scan through your body and just see what wants to relax, to let go a little. You might take a full, deep in-breath, filling the chest, filling the lungs. And a slow out breath, feeling the sensations of the breath as you release. And again, a deep in-breath. And a slow out breath. And letting your breath then resume in its natural rhythm, opening to your senses, feeling the breath in the foreground, and relaxing with the background of sensations, sounds, feelings, and life.
All right, Unsinkable, I have a quick question. Are you ready to meet our panelists? If so, let's get started. First, I'm going to introduce all of our panelists, and then we're going to turn it over to them to kind of just briefly go through what their names are, their background, the connection to the topic of back to school and mental health, and their story. So let's start with the first person. First person we have is none other than Julia Fernanda Gomez. Julia is currently pursuing her doctoral research at York University School of Kinesiology and Health Science, supervised by Dr. Lindsay Hayhurst. Her academic career began with a bachelor degree in health science, complemented in minors by a minor in biology and multiple minors. Let me excuse myself with that: biology, chemistry, and psychology. She later earned a master's degree in kinesiology and health science, where she honed her holistic approach by integrating social, cultural, and psychosocial perspectives into her research. Julia, welcome. Let us know exactly who you are, what you're looking to bring to the table in regards to the discussion, and share a little tip in regards to how mental health has been a major impact in your life.
All right, so we've had our fair share of technical difficulties. So thanks for those still, zooming in and in our event. I mean, how can you not with someone as engaging as Marcus as a moderator? But I guess a little bit more about me. So I definitely understand the struggles with mental health, and I've been diagnosed myself with several mental health issues during my younger years as a teenager, and I continue to deal with those, throughout my career as a student, as well as a researcher and as a teacher. And so sometimes it does feel like a lot to be balancing all these things, as all students do. They're managing their extracurriculars, they're managing their schoolwork, and then trying to work in balancing their family and friend time as well. And so that's quite the balancing act. And I think that the best thing that you can do for yourself is to prioritize yourself. I know it may sound like something selfish, or you want to prioritize your family and friends and all of those people so important and close to your life, but they can't benefit unless you're feeling good and you're living a happy life. And so definitely, I think you need to focus on you, and then everything else will fall into place. Once you're at your best, everything kind of, continues to go well. So yeah, I'm going to pass it on now, but look forward to chatting more with the rest of the panelists.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Julia. I really do appreciate that. I'm looking forward to everything that you're going to be bringing to the conversation, because in terms of perspective, the more perspectives we have within mental health, that's what really helps us really develop a clear understanding of what it is for every individual person. And like yourself, your shared experiences are absolutely something truly powerful. So thank you for that. The next person that we have, I'm a really big fan. I don't know as to whether or not he knows that, but I'm going to tell him that now. So the next person that we have is Jamin Maxey, a dedicated Afro-Indigenous student who was committed to breaking the cycle. In 2020, he graduated with honors from Georgian College's Social Service Worker Program. Pardon? Okay. Yep, sorry. Service Worker Program, earning the Exemplary Learner Award. Currently, as a fourth-year psychology student, he is enrolled within the specialized honors thesis program, while also working as an addiction counselor for Addiction Rehab Toronto. Jama, what's up, my man? I really appreciate you joining us here today. Absolutely amazing to see everything that you continue to do. Let's hear what you got to say, man.
Awesome. So I just wanted to say a little bit about myself and why I'm invested in, youth mental health and going back to school mental health. So my trajectory into post-secondary and academia is very different. I always like to speak about my childhood because it's very important to me that, I get this sort of out there so people understand where I'm coming from. So I grew up in foster homes and group homes by no fault of my own. And I struggled very early on with mental health, but I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know how to talk about my mental health. I really just stuffed everything in. And so I went on to college 2 times, and I dropped out both times. And, I just felt like a complete failure. And, mental health really destroyed me as a person. And ultimately, I came back for a third time. And as Marcus alluded to, I was successful and won an award, and I graduated with honors. And, I really think this conversation about mental health is so important because, if I knew the things that I know now about mental health, maybe I wouldn't have failed earlier on in my life with school and academia. And so we need to start talking about these things because they're real. And I don't understand why in 2023 we have to, say that mental health is real health, because everyone, I don't care where you come from, what, area you're from, somebody with mental health struggles. And especially with what's happened in the last 3 years, people are kind of elevated in their neuroticism and negative emotion. And so we need to stick together. What we do know is that, what we can't do alone, we can certainly do together. So I'm very grateful to be joined by a great group of panelists that are equally as passionate about youth mental health and talking about these issues, because, we need you beautiful people to continue to strive.
Awesome. That's probably the only word I could say to that. I think the one thing I'll probably add on to that just very quickly is just introducing the idea as we continue the conversation of failure not necessarily being final. With Jam's story, you're seeing that exactly, right? Failure is not final. Sorry, I apologize. And everything you continue to do is going to be something truly positive. Moving forward, I have somebody, the last person to introduce. This individual is a special person. I did my little bit of research, and I did take a little bit of notes in regards to what she continues to do in being the change that she wishes to see in the world. It's absolutely amazing, and I know everybody on this live stream is going to be absolutely inspired. So let me go through the introduction so you guys can get to know exactly who this individual is, and I'll have her share a little bit more of her story as well too. So the person I'm going to be speaking about is Arissa Roy. She's a youth activist, a children's book author, a documentary maker as well. She's founded the Project Power Global, an organization advocating for global education equity. Arissa has been featured by the Malala Fund, CBC Toronto, and UNGEI. She collaborates with organizations like Plan International Canada, Unsinkable, ourselves, and Canadian Partnership for Women and Children's Health to champion social justice, mental health, and climate action. Currently, Arissa studies at the United World College of the Adriatic in Northern Italy, ladies and gentlemen, Northern Italy, live, and she is joining us live from across the world right now. Arissa, please welcome. Really do appreciate you taking the time, literally the time. I believe it's 1 a.m. there. Let us know exactly what's going on in your world, and just share a little tidbit into who you are, your story, and what can we expect throughout the conversation today.
I've currently undergone a really big life change moving away, which is why back to school and, topics relating to mental health is a big topic for me right now. And through running my own organization, working in the advocacy space, I've endured many struggles when it comes to my own personal mental health, and also trying to address different mental health concerns within the communities that I work with. So I'm really excited to be here to share more and also to learn from all of you. I know we have a chat going, so I hope that we can get some audience input as well. And I guess my first message to say is that every story matters, and the more we talk is the more we learn and we grow. So yeah, let's get started.
All right. So with that being said, we've met the panelists. We know who I am. We know who they are. We know the team. So let's run the play. It's question time. And believe me, it's about to be really, really special. The first question I have is going to Julia. Julia, can you speak on to caring for your mental health during the transition between your life as being a student and beginning your career also as a PhD? Can you let us know a little bit of insight as to what that looks like in your everyday life then, and also what it is now, best practices, anything of that nature?
Yeah, for sure. is the audio good? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So I would say lots of therapy. Talk therapy is so important. And I guess since I am getting my PhD in kinesiology, I will give a shout out to physical activity and exercise, because even though for a long time, I've thought the idea that, moving my body would impact my mental state at all, it really does make such a difference. And when you feel that firsthand, when you're being physically active, I'm not saying running like a 5K sprint, but even low to moderate physical activity, you can feel those benefits. And so I encourage everyone to move their body in whatever way feels comfortable, and feels safe for them, because I think that's like the best way to connect your body and mind, and just stay connected with your body. Because a lot of the time I feel it's easy to become disconnected, especially when we're so like locked into our screens. So yeah, that's how I would say I talk about the most. And some meditation, throw in some breathing exercises. I thought meditation was a sham for a long time as well. And the breath work really showed me kind of the light, you could say, of how much changing the way your breathing patterns work can change your mental state. Yeah. And so I would definitely encourage, if you haven't tried breath work in your meditation yet, to try that as an alternative to, different types of therapy if talk therapy isn't really your thing or something else.
I really like that. I think it's super important, especially for myself, personally speaking, on my own behalf. I'll be the first person to put my hand up and say, hey, the gym is my sanctuary. It's something that has truly become a major pivotal point in my life. And if there's one thing you can definitely say from my everyday life, it's I'm in the gym almost every single day. And when I am there, it's me time. Right. So I can definitely speak to the physical activity aspect of things, just connecting the mental and the physical aspect as well, in terms of like, really expressing who you are in that space and really taking that space to be my own safe space. So I can definitely agree with that. And I'm sure that many others that are on the live stream as well can definitely agree with that as well. But we have to actually ask another question as well. But I'm going to send it over to my man, Jamma. Jamma, can you hear me?
Yeah, most definitely.
All right. Awesome. So if there's one thing that I do know, I heard a little something that you're in application mode right now. So how exactly are you taking mental health as you apply to grad school? How can other students take care of themselves as they apply for the next stage in their education career as well? So high school or undergrad or even postgrad, for anybody that could be listening, let them know. I think a lot of people can really learn a lot from your experience. And I'm going to give you this time because I really do think you can inspire a lot of lives today.
Yeah, most definitely. I think the first thing I want to say is just take it one day at a time. That advice was given to me so early on, and just take it one day at a time, because for so long, I did not take life one day at a time. I can't control what's going to happen tomorrow. I can't control what's going to happen in April. April is when the, graduate applications get reviewed for context. But, I was always kind of told to control the intangibles and control what you can control. And, so what that means is when I wake up in the morning, there are certain things that I can control. Unfortunately, I'm not part of the graduate admissions teams. And, for a lot of people that are trying to move to different levels of post-secondary education, it's very anxiety provoking. Like, I don't even know if I'm going to be living in Toronto, this time next year. But like I said, control what you can control. And I'm so glad, we were talking about physical health, because mental health and physical health to me correspond. We know that from research. And, for me, I like to go to the gym as well, but I also like to run. And the reason I like to run is because it really gives me an opportunity to reflect on new ideas and ways that I can improve, right? There's no, people say they get the runner's high, and that's because, those endorphins are really going through your body. And, for me, like, I just really try to emphasize when I speak that it's okay to not be okay. What I mean by that is, like, say you had a problem with your roof, right? And the roof had a leak in it. What's the first thing you got to do? You got to acknowledge that there's a leak in your roof, right? So sometimes when we're struggling mentally, the first step is just acknowledging that there's a leak in our roof. It was my analogy, that there's a leak in our brain, that something hasn't been going well. And we have to be honest with ourselves. If we're not honest with ourselves, we're doing it dishonor to the people around us, because unfortunately, I know people in this call are amazing people, and they do a lot of great things, but I don't think anyone here is a mind reader. So no one can understand JAMA unless I tell them. And that's hard sometimes, but like I said with the roof example, if you don't tell someone that there's a leak in your roof, you're never going to get that roofer to come fix. And there's plenty of services and resources out there for people struggling, but don't be afraid to admit that you're not okay, because that's just really the first step. And encompassing all the supports you have, like when you're going through this process, what you realize is that there's so many other people going through that exact same journey. So why do this alone? I used to be so cut off and just by myself, introverted, but I'm learning as I go. The more connection, the more social connection I have, the better this journey is, because I'm not alone. I've never been alone. Even though I've thought I've been alone, I've never been alone. So I connect every day with teachers, with students, with people, just everyday people, friends, family. I let them know, and that's staying connected. I can't do this alone, so I need to stay connected, because loneliness is just going to kill me, and doing this alone is optional, right? So yeah.
I love that. I really love that. I got two things to say. First things, you're absolutely amazing for your vulnerability, transparency, and authenticity. I really do appreciate it. And second thing is that you have a new friend in me. You have a new friend in me based on the fact that everything that you continue to say it's real, it's raw, and it's authentic. And it's something that I know that a lot of people can really relate to that are listening now, either live or later on the recording. So I really want to commend you on your bravery for everything that you continue to do. And just the future is very, very bright for you and for many others, because the vulnerability that you just brought into the conversation is definitely the essence of what we want to have. And that's what's really going to break through and really inspire other people to go ahead and take that next step. First thing, the analogy in regarding to the leaking roof, absolutely amazing to frame it that way. I was busy taking notes here on my end. So the fact that I got everything down in a matter of 2 minutes that you were mentioning everything there. First of all, I'm very proud of myself. But second thing, I have to definitely say that I'm very proud of you for what you just shared. So thank you again for that. I have another question for Arissa. Arissa, are you there with us?
Yeah, I am.
All right. So it's now 1:37 over there in Italy. So let's talk a little bit. So we talk about Italy. You moved across the globe to Italy. Congrats.
Yes.
Really love to hear that.
Thank you.
Can you touch upon the mental challenges of moving and going away to school for the first time? Because I did see your Instagram post as well, and you talked about it. And I love the way you framed it with the audio in regards to, it can be a struggle for the current time being, but then it can also be a revelation and something that's truly inspiring for the future to come. So can you touch upon that and share that with everybody here today?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm still in high school. So the move to Italy was a big decision for me, but I think I decided to do it because change in environment, change in people, and even just the normalcy of everyday life was something that I was really longing. And I think I needed a way to kind of bring more creativity in my life, which is why I decided to apply and take, this opportunity as well. But let's just say it's not all eating pasta and going out and like going to the museums, and it's not all that. Although the sunsets here are beautiful and I live near the sea and everything, it's definitely a struggle at the same time. And I think like there's three main areas that have brought struggle to me recently. The three being like cultural shock and anxiety as well. So I've grown up in Canada my entire life, but here I'm surrounded by people like my school. We have people from like over 80 countries in one school. Plus, I'm in a new country itself. So, like, new language, new food, new people, new schedule, like, everything is brand new. So, it was definitely a shock when I first got here. And also, like, on top of that, being away from home, being away from, my family, my parents, my siblings, and all of that has also been, really scary. And there's days when I look at our pictures, and I, kind of long for that sense of just family as well. And then also just like the worries that come up when you start like, a new chapter. I kind of went into this experience thinking that I would get on the plane to Italy and fly, and just all of my troubles back home would go away. But in reality, that's not always the case. And when it comes to mental health, it's so important to realize that it's a process, and that you are ever growing and ever changing. And I really do think that the saying, like, you have to go through a tunnel of like darkness to find the light, I think it's really true. At least for me, like when I go through tough patches, I just remember that it's not forever, it will pass. And there are, everyday things that can bring more light into your life. So yeah, but overall, those are the main things that I've faced. And I guess just trying to figure out like how to find home in a new place as well is another thing. And I often like to also talk about how, for me, I think home is not just like a physical environment, but also like the people, and what how you take care of yourself, and build that home within yourself too, which is really important and has been a great tool for me when I'm dealing with stress and anxiety as well.
I really like that. I like the family aspect. I'm very, very big on family myself, and I'm pretty sure there's a couple of heads nodding on, the call that we have here, as well as the live stream in regards to family and how much it truly means. I think, as to going back to what Jama mentioned, looking at things holistically, looking at things collectively, I think that's really where the essence and power truly lies. So it's good to see the power that you have with your family, your friends, and how while you are disconnected, you are also still connected, and in the heart and also in the mind. I think that's super, super important to kind of have that distinction between each other. So again, really love that. And it's absolutely amazing to hear everything is going well for you all the way in Italy. Now it's probably 1:42. So I appreciate you taking the time to join us here today. But moving forward, one thing I really want to do is I really want to start just having a little bit of a roundtable discussion. I think that, answering questions from every and all angles, that's where we're going to really try to truly find the essence of, a clear answer and an understanding for everybody else that's on the call to truly, like, just have a sense of belonging, have a sense of understanding collectively as well. So we're going to go ahead and ask. I have 3 questions here. I'm going to go in the order of Julia, Jama, and then Arissa. We're going to go one question, then around the horn, and then we're going to do another question again. How does that sound? Is that okay, guys? Awesome. Okay. So first things first, very important. I know who I go to. I go to my mom. My mom's probably outside watching me here right now, and she's definitely the person that I go to for support when I feel down. But I want to know exactly, who do you all go to for support when you feel down? Let us know. Is there any ideas, anything special about that individual that really just puts home where the heart is? Let me know. So I'm going to start off with Julia. You can go ahead.
Yeah, so echoing what you said, Marcus, I think my mom is a huge rock for me. Both of my parents, honestly, huge support system. I don't think I would be as far in my education without my parents' support. Like emotional, just like also, providing and that, it's really difficult for us as young people to, be in school for a long time and then still continue to like live our lives. So, I've been really privileged in that regard, that I have that amazing support system in my parents. I also have an awesome little dog who is actually 15. His name's Noah, and he is a great support system. He hangs out with me all day long while I'm in front of my computer. We go outside to get fresh air together at least twice a day.
Nice.
Yeah, and so I would say like those are my biggest supports.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
you know what? Honorable mention to my partner. I can't not mention my partner because yeah, he definitely provides me more support. So just, yeah, definitely the core four.
Awesome. Awesome. Definitely going to check the safe box now that you mentioned the partner. So that's great. We'll go over to Gemma. Gemma, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, definitely. Mine may be different than people, but since I still have great supports. And the first person I would say is my friend Travis. I think he's been a real rock in my life since for many years now, and he's somebody who a lot of men, they're scared to talk about certain things, and when we talk, we're raw and authentic. Like I'm not gonna um, I actually was just talking to him today about something that was raw and authentic, and I probably wouldn't, talk to somebody who I'm walking down the street with. So, that's just kind of the relationship we have, and that's it goes both ways. And when you have someone's back, it's forever. It's just a commitment you have. And I would say my mentor as well, always somebody I can go to for advice, whether it's it's something to do with like finances or just personal interpersonal stuff. And then I would say I have a lot of people in my school, like I have my lots of friends in school, and there's one girl in specific that I think we've started school I think we started the first year together, and we just kind of clicked, and we talk all the time. Like we send each other voice notes like this, that, and the other. I'm struggling. I need, and that's the reality of it. We're both going grads. We're both, trying to go to graduate school, and and having that friendship that I can go to and not feel judged for having a bad day. I have real emotions. I have breakdowns. Like I have some days in school where I'm like, I'm about to cry. And so like just having somebody you can go to in those days where it's like it's part of the process, and it's part of the journey, and you don't have to feel weird about it. So yeah, I say and I can't forget my older brother. My older brother, he's my day one, and somebody I always can, cry, be sad with, doesn't matter what it is. He's always there for me. So I can't forget my older brother. So
That's awesome. I really do appreciate that. We have two solid answers. We have two people claiming themselves now safe. Now they did not forget the significant other person that is actually in their life. That's great. Let's see if we can go 3 for 3. Arissa.
Yeah, I think my biggest support system comes from two really close friends that I have. I don't know if they're watching, maybe. If they are, Camilla and Karina, I love you both. Karina is actually my dad's best friend's daughter, and we just so happened to be born the same year in the same month. So from day one, we were kind of really close, and she understands me probably better than most people will ever because we've just gone through so much together. And then aside from that, I think I've also started to find my community here at my new school in Italy because one thing I've definitely learned is that you need community to survive. At least I do. And I think as humans, we do. It might look different for everyone. Community can be your own definition, but for me, it definitely is like having people to even just at the end of the day come home and just say, how was your day? How are you doing? All of that. So I have a few friends here who have definitely been a support system for me the last few days. And yeah, aside from that too, my parents both support me a lot. And my cousin, who's actually working with Unsinkable, Sarah Marine, I don't know if she's on this call or she's watching live, but she also is my older sister vibe kind of person. So I know I can always turn to her for those sisterly questions that we might be too embarrassed to ask our moms, in some cases. So yeah, but overall there's that. And then I'd say lastly, just like the community, the general community is like Unsinkable and my organization, having like people who share similar passions and hobbies is also really helpful too. That's my answer.
That's absolutely awesome. I think it's, super important to first acknowledge the mention of community. I think that's super important. I mean, for myself, I've only been a part of the Unsinkable community for less than a couple months. And if this is where we're at right now, I can imagine what we're going to be doing in like a year, 6 months. So it's truly amazing to see the power that we have and the power that we're bringing towards everybody in the outside community known as Toronto life or the world around us. So it's super, super important for that. And I really do appreciate that. Shout out to your friends. You are 3 for 3. We are all 3 for 3. So this is great. We're off to a great start. And I have a second question just to follow up on that. Simple, very simple, very easy for all of you guys to answer. Who can rely on your support at your institution? So that could be your school, that can be at your work. I did see a Laurier sweater, unfortunately, from Julia. I went to Brock. I apologize. I'm not a big fan of that, but I have to start with you first because I need to hear your answer.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Well, yeah, I love Laurier because I went for my undergrad there, and also my post grad is now at York, so I have love for both schools and Brock as well. Actually, I have a lot of colleagues that came from Brock in their undergrad in like sport management type of stuff. So that's really awesome. I think I know you're an athlete as well, Marcus, so really cool. I would say I'm there to support. That was the question, right? I didn't set that up. I would say I'm there to support like definitely the undergrad students. I mean, anytime I see any student, I feel like a need to support because I feel like when I was in my undergrad, and as anyone who might not have guidance from their parents because their parents didn't go to post-secondary school like mine didn't, they need that guidance, or else we never know what the heck we're doing. And we're just blindly trying to figure out what degree we should do when we're in the degree, what courses we should take to get us a good job, to get us a livable job, a feasible income, So all of those questions, I was lucky enough to have a mentor and one of my professors at the time. And without him, I wouldn't have been like, I would never have gotten to graduate school because there was so much I didn't know that was entailed in going to graduate school, like the need. And you can go to graduate school for free, for instance. No one told me that. If you do research, someone can pay you to do research for them and your schooling is covered. People don't realize that. My parents didn't even realize that. And so I feel like I want to support anyone, whether they're a student or they're aspiring to be a student in that regard, because I think that's where my knowledge really is helpful.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. I'll honestly sum that up in saying university choice, no. Answer, yes. It was really good to hear that. It's really refreshing. I think, especially for me, speaking from my perspective, you did hit the nail right on the head in regards to me being an athlete. I was a university athlete at Brock University for multiple years, and just having that communal space, also known as the field, or if not the gym. I think for me, it's really been extremely pivotal. And I made a lot of friends on the soccer field, and I made a lot of friends off the soccer field as well. And it's just something that I can truly speak to in regards to just really nurturing and becoming the best version of myself every single day. So everything in regards to the university experience that you messaged, yes, you're off the hook for this one. You're off the hook for this one, so I'll let this one slide. I'll send it over next to Jamma. Jamma, do you have anything to add on to that? Who can rely on your support from you at your institution? It can also even be at the gym. It can be anywhere, really. What do you think, or where do you think that your best support is best placed? And then where can people best see it? Sorry.
Yeah, most definitely. So I study at psychology at York University. I'm sorry, Marcus, but yeah, so yeah, everyone who knows a little bit about psychology knows there's been marginalized groups that have taken over that field, and in the sense that they hold positions of power, and they typically go on to graduate school. And certainly me, Marcus mentioned my identity at the beginning of the event today, and me being half African and I'm half Indigenous. And so those two groups are historically underrepresented in psychology. So me being a fourth year kind of veteran in the program, and going on to grad school, I inspire to help people from my community because I know how hard it can be and the challenges we face. And I may be annoying, but I'm I'm the type of person, I see another Black student and I'll run up to them after class and, do you know about this resource? Do you know about this? Do you know about this? And that's just the type of person I am, because I was always told, if you can, if you obtain something, you got to go back down and pull somebody up. So I'm actually I'm the coordinator for this program called the Ready program. And the Ready program is, an opportunity for second and third year students to get an opportunity that are marginalized. So, those groups that I was talking about, to get an opportunity to work in research labs, and I'm kind of their mentor. And so, I like to help people in any way I can, because, I would not be here without my help, and especially in school, like as a first generation student, as Julie was saying, like, there's so many things I just don't know. Like, to this day, I still don't know. Like, I'm like, so people help me, and then I help people. And that's how this thing works. It's just constantly that cycle of helping people. And I really think that, anyone who, in terms of just, everyday life, I love people that are like trying, like I always say, like, there's no such thing as failure. Like, as Marcus said earlier, there's really no such thing as failure. Like, as long as you're trying, you're a winner in my eyes. So as long as you keep trying, you're a huge winner in my eyes. So keep trying at whatever you're doing, because it will pay off.
We got a panel. We absolutely have a panel here, ladies and gentlemen. That was absolutely amazing. Gemma, yeah, I love that. I mean, just touching upon the overall idea, as I mentioned from before, failure not being final. I think it's you're a true testament to what that means. And I truly mean that. I think a lot of people, again, would be nodding their head and smiling and saying that that resonates exactly with you, Gemma, as well. So thank you again for the transparency. Like I said from the very beginning, it's absolutely amazing to see, your story come to fruition and everything that you continue to do in a positive way. But that being said, I'm going to take some time because I have a little surprise. I spoke at the very beginning in regards to perspectives and the overall conversation. We want to be able to have all perspectives contribute to a clear answer. With that being said, I have another member that's going to be joining us live as well from Vancouver, BC. If I'm not mistaken, her name is Nina. Nina, welcome. I really appreciate you joining us today.
Hello. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I'm so sorry for all the tech difficulties.
No problem, no problem, no problem. I'm just going to quickly go over exactly who you are, and then I'm going to drop a little question to you, okay? Just to get you caught up in speed, okay?
Perfect.
All right, awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, Nina Charlie is an intersectional social justice activist specializing in anti-racism work. She is currently pursuing a Bachelor of Social Science degree in Conflict Studies and Human Rights at the University of Ottawa. In 2020, she led the first Black Lives Matter event in Mid-Vancouver Island, driven by a deep commitment for addressing her hometown's histories of ignoring racism. Nina is a co-chair of the Ottawa Black Diaspora Coalition and a youth innovator. With 20 today, 20 tomorrow, she leverages her lived experiences and knowledge to mobilize support for marginalized groups and advocate for positive social change across all systems and societies. Question just to catch you up with all of us here. Nina, I have it here. If there is one thing that comes to mind with you, I know it's going to be passion and purpose. So can we dive a little bit deeper into your relationship with mental health, navigating back to school, and just share a little bit of your perspective in regards to who you are, what you do, and how everybody can benefit from your story here today?
Ooh, that's big. Yeah. Mental health has always been a really big, I wouldn't say challenge, because I believe it's something that you kind of work with throughout life. But it has been definitely a key part of my life. I believe it's something that there has been struggle with to discuss, especially as a student and especially as somebody who is a person of color and growing up in two different communities and stuff. It was something that I had to kind of struggle with coming to terms with as well. But I found various support systems, and the ability to discuss it more was huge, especially coming to Ottawa now. I definitely found some roots and people who experience the same things as me and were able to open up and share that space for me to be my authentic self as well. And passion, that was a really big thing that you said. And I believe that not having the ability to fully be myself back in my hometown had definitely a big impact on mental health. And I believe that many people can agree with that, probably, when you have to kind of shut yourself down and internalize a lot of things. But yeah, I'm really happy to be here and discuss it with everyone. And again, thank you so much for having me and allowing me to be part of this. So
No problem, no problem, no problem. We're gonna throw it the way with the question. The original question that we had, just to kind of catch up with everybody as well, is who can rely on your support at your institution? So, Arissa, do you have any questions or any answers towards that?
Yeah, for sure. Nina, it's so nice to have you here. I think, we need more people. We need these different perspectives to be chatting. So grateful that you were able to join us. I think in terms of who can rely on my support, I want to say anyone, but I think that's a really interesting thing because I'm the type of person to try and help as many people as possible to a point where I might be overdoing it, which I think is a good topic to also address today. You cannot do everything. I mean, there are many of us who wish we could. Being at my school, there are thousands of opportunities that, I could take advantage of and join this club and join that club and do this class and do that. Like, it's a lot. And I think that's where really understanding which places need your time the most, your energy the most is very important. So, in terms of relying on my support, I think just people who kind of can relate to me as well. Like, I think for me, being South Asian as well, I have often brought my culture into a lot of the conversations that I'm in. So people who kind of have dealt with similar experiences being an immigrant or from an immigrant family in a new country, like is a community that I resonate deeply with and often try and help support, because I think support is also two ways. So I might be helping someone at the same time they're helping me too. So yeah, and I think and also just other young people being like a youth activist working in the advocacy space, running an organization that I started when I was 14 was a crazy experience. I still don't know what I'm doing fully. And so other young people is who I try and support.
I love that. I love the whole overall aspect of helping somebody else and helping yourself too. I think that's definitely something that I do, especially on social media. I'm not there for the likes. I'm there for the passion and purpose, as Nina was mentioning in regards to that before. It's just genuinely looking to help others become the best version of themselves yesterday, not today, but yesterday. Because we start building on, today's dream of yesterday. Today's dream of tomorrow began yesterday. I apologize for that. That's definitely something that is really ingrained in my mind on a regular basis. So I can definitely truly understand that as well. Funny enough, that saying itself came from somebody very, very important in my life. And that's going to lead us into our next question, because the next question that I have for all of you is simple and very easy again. So how can family, friends, and teachers, professors like that best support students during the upcoming year? So particularly in September, when stress of transition is really, really high, what is the best thing that somebody on the outside can do for someone to impact them on the inside? So that could be teachers, that could be friends, family. We've heard many different things. We heard teammates from my perspective. We heard partners. We heard friends, other colleagues that are actually within the same schooling. Just gonna see that out for everybody as well. We'll start off. We'll keep the same order. Nina, I'll have you go last. So we'll go and start off with Julia. Julia, take us away.
Sorry, Marcus, can you just give me a quick go of that question one more time?
Yep. So generally, in regards to families, friends, and professors, what is the best way for them to support students during the upcoming year? So in this case, obviously now in regards to September, the month that we're in, when stress is very high and the transition from, I would say summer to school and mental health, what are some things that they could really look for in helping them be there, getting on their level and understanding exactly who they are, where they currently are, and why they could be feeling this way?
I think definitely acknowledging where people are coming from and not necessarily judging someone based on how they might have talked to you that day in class. Like, you don't know what students are going through, you don't know what your friends are going through. And so something that, you may have taken offense to, they might be having a hard day. That might be them. That might have been, their last straw. They might have hit their breaking point. So considering all of those outside factors that are influencing our ability to engage in schoolwork, to engage with our friends and our teachers. And sometimes those things get in the way of engaging with all those important people. And a lot of the times that's how relationships can end. But if everyone, if we had a little bit more understanding, acknowledgement, and empathy, I guess, foremost, I think that's what's most important, because people are going to be there for you, and sometimes they're going to need you to be there for them. And so I think meeting people where they're at and acknowledging the outside forces that are really impacting us all in different ways is big. So like thinking about your social identity, like I know that you folks were talking about your experiences being racialized with your gender, even maybe your sexuality. And so considering all those things and thinking about how someone's social identity might be intersecting that, like how kind of Nina's perspective and intersectionality, how all of those things kind of overlap and affect a person's point of view and what they're going through. And I'll stop rambling now. Oh, you're muted, Marcus.
Sorry, I apologize for that. That was probably just a note for myself to stop talking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop talking because people primarily want to hear from you guys. So I'm going to send it over to Gemma. Gemma, take it away with the next point.
Yeah, definitely. I want to give a shout out to one, for some people who are athletes too, like, it can be coaches. And I had a coach early on in my life. And, I just remember the little things he would do for me. Um, and like he would just like go that extra mile. And I still like have like little lessons like in my head that I'm like I remember learning that from him. And this was like early on in high school when I was going, being a student athlete. And I used to think he was out to get me and stuff. I'd be in the hallway talking to girls and stuff, and he'd be like, aren't you supposed to be in class and all this stuff. And I remember when I wanted to drop out of English, and like just real conversations. But in terms of how can faculty, professors, teachers support people, I think that just be genuine. Like I really enjoy when people are genuine in their interactions. And I know that Julie touched on a good point, is that you never know what someone's going through, so a lot of the times we're quick to judge, especially on the road when we're in traffic or whatnot. You can quickly judge the person in the car in front of you, but you don't know if they're on the way to the hospital. You don't know what's going on in that car. So on the same thing for faculty, a lot of times you don't know what's going on with your students, and getting to know them. And also just I think one of the big things for me is just when teachers go that extra mile, and whatever that looks like, it can be the smallest thing. I kid you not. There's been teachers that have gone that extra mile, and it's been like the smallest thing, like, and teachers have a job, and that is to teach, but they also have a responsibility for the youth, and don't underestimate the power that you can have now on a youth 10 years from now. Like for some people in my life, and teachers and professors, that 10 years from now, like they're invited to the wedding. Like they have made that much of an impact on me that, it just, don't underestimate how much leadership you have and how much influence you have.
I am not unmuted this. Sorry, I'm not muted this time. No, that was great. I really love that. I love everything you just mentioned there. I'm gonna send it Arissa from Italy.
Yeah. So I mean, I think for this one, I talk a lot about education, and my saying is education is power. That's what we believe at my organization, and we really think that, learning is one of the most impactful ways to create change and to kind of teach people what we need to do to make this world a better place. And it all starts with teachers and with people in the community who are sharing those lessons and resources. And I think the biggest thing to say is remember to be kind. Like, seriously, kindness does make an impact. It really does. Whether it's smile, whether it's, ask, take 2 seconds, ask someone how they're doing, ask someone how like their day was. And also for peers, like in a classroom setting, like talk to your peers, support each other, share notes, like, do all those things because they're small, but they do make a huge difference. I wrote a children's book actually about this very topic, about like the ripple effect and how those little actions, you never really know how far they'll impact, because like the book kind of concept is like, when you have a rock and you like throw it in the water, you never know how far that those ripples are going to go. Like you lose count. And that's the same thing for this. And I think if you have the privilege of being an educator or being in some sort of leadership position, remember that you also have a deep responsibility to care for the people that you are leading. So yeah.
Love that. If this is you at 1:45 Italy time, I can imagine you during the day. The power that you actually brought there was absolutely amazing. I'm sure everybody that's listening live and later will be able to feel, the message that you really brought there. Nina, talk to us.
Yeah, no, everyone said such great answers already, so I'm just gonna kind of piggyback off everyone. But school, of course, was a very hard place for me to go in. And after I left school, I was very nervous going back in for post-secondary education. But I knew that I was going to find new groups and new people and new communities. And of course, like just what Ressa was saying, like be kind. That's such a huge thing. And just like be open to listening to people. Openness and understanding, empathy, those are just such crucial things to allowing that cushion and safe space for people to really just allow them to feel comfortable and understood and heard. And again, educators, I still remember things my grade 8 teacher said to me when I needed some comfort in a little way, when I was walking around school with headphones in and listening to screaming music in my ears instead of listening to somebody smile at me, right? We just need those moments in time, those little stops where somebody just looks at us and says it's going to be okay, or I'm here for you, kind of thing. And it's huge. It's huge. It can change the trajectory of anything just in a day or for a lifetime. So, yeah.
I love that. It's going to be okay. I think that is definitely probably the very first note that I would take from this discussion. It's going to be okay, because there's times where I need that. I wake up in the morning and I'm just not feeling it. And, if looking at that phrase right there, I think in terms of changing trajectories, that's that would be my anchor. In getting me back in line and getting me back to feeling like myself once again. But no, again, I really appreciate the transparent answers from the panel. You guys are absolutely amazing. We're going to shift gears a little bit. Is that okay? I'm getting thumbs up, so that's awesome. All right, so youth stories continue to be a prime topic of discussion during this event. So we're going to continue in that direction moving forward. Next, we have another Unsinkable youth story from Nikita Baxi that you'll need to hear with a supporting message from Unsinkable. So let's hear about that, what that's going to look like.
I always felt like if I wasn't doing the most I could, then I wasn't good enough. And if I wasn't like 3 steps ahead, then I was 3 steps behind. And in high school, I moved around a lot. I struggled really to find my place, and I only really felt like I had academics going for me. My mindset and the way I coped with things made the experience a lot worse. When I hit university, I decided I really needed to change the way that I thought about these things because it was just unhealthy. I decided that I needed to remember that everyone's journey is different and that we all have different paths to get there, and that we should be open to new experiences and things that might take us in a different route than we originally thought. I decided that I need to be okay with embracing the unknown. I didn't need to have every part of my life planned out. And I deserve to have fun despite all the responsibilities and uncertainties on my head. To me, being unsinkable means becoming the best version of yourself, being resilient, and appreciating the journey of life. All experiences can help you grow, good or bad, and life is all about how we face challenges, about embracing opportunities to grow and improve as a person.
The transition from summer break back into the school year can be challenging, but don't worry, we've got you covered with tips and tricks to make the change a little less sucky. My best tip, don't be afraid to seek help when you need it. If you feel overwhelmed or find it challenging to cope with the transition, reach out to a school counselor, teacher, parent, or coach. Reaching out to your school's mental health resources can help provide you with guidance or just a listening ear and may offer solutions to help navigate difficult times. You've got this. Wishing you a successful and healthy school year.
Back to school can be a busy time, a time with a lot of expectations. You may be looking at the year ahead thinking, how am I going to get everything done? One of the really helpful tips that I like to use when I see a long road ahead of me is to break it down into small chunks, to think about what can I accomplish in the next hour? What can I accomplish in the next day or in the next week? And think about each of the categories. What does that look like for school? What does that look like for extracurriculars? What does that look like for my life with my family or my time by myself? Being able to break it down can make it feel a lot more manageable and can help you get through all these big tasks a little bit at a time.
Going back to school for me was always a scary thing. I'm not a conventional learner. I'm a kinesthetic learner. I'm an innovator and a mover. And so I always struggled to find the right strategies for going back to school. But if I could offer you one piece of advice, it would be to not only get all your books and logistics ready, but to get yourself ready. And I mean checking in with yourself, setting some intentions and goals for the new year, and congratulating yourself for being where you are.
Transitions can be really scary, especially for somebody like myself that struggles with change. It gives me a lot of anxiety. A coping strategy that I have learned throughout the years is to really validate and acknowledge my feelings. Feelings are meant to be felt. So what I like to do is grab a piece of paper and a pen, and I write down all of my thoughts and feelings that are coming up with a situation that includes transition and change. That gives me a different perspective and also a way to honor my feelings. I take this opportunity to look at the bigger picture and see all of the great opportunities of growth that this transition.
Can you hear me? I'm going to bring you in about 9 seconds. Bring you back now. You're back.
Friends and family, here we are. The end of the chapter, but not the end of our story. With that being said, I do have some general housekeeping to get through as we bring our energies to the respective world around us. First, I would like to provide each panelist an opportunity for a brief closing statement, food for thought, and also some call to action for back to school for mental health in regards to back to school. So we'll start from the very top again. Julia, if you are there, let us know any food for thought, anything you do want to take away for anybody that's going to be listening live here today.
I think Julia dipped. She's still here. Julia, can you get your camera on?
We'll go with Jamma then. Oh, Julia's there. Julia, go ahead.
So sorry. Thank you so much for having me. And it's just been an absolute pleasure being here and hearing everyone's thoughts and also where everyone's coming from and getting to know the panelists. So yeah, just an incredible experience and really appreciate it.
Same order. Jamma.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to the youth that came out to watch this. You guys make this possible. My only piece of advice that I'm going to give you, because this may be relevant, especially for this month, is this too shall pass. You know, whatever you're going through, this too shall pass. So know that.
Marissa?
Yeah, I love it. Okay, one quote that I absolutely love, and I've been kind of repeating to myself since I've heard it, is you can be a masterpiece and a work in progress in at the same time. So to anyone who feels like it's not the time or you're going through a hard time, just know that it's okay to be a work in progress, and we all are, and will continue to be for the rest of our lives. But at the same time, you are just as you should be, just where you should be. So never forget that, and definitely reach out. Seriously, it changes the way that you are able to tackle the challenges you face. Asking for help is not something that should be seen as weak or, wrong. And if you ever have challenges, even navigating how to ask for help, reach out to communities like Unsinkable, because we are here for you and we do want to help. So thank you so much for coming out today. And I cannot wait to continue to connect with the community.
Nina?
I'm so happy I got to be here for the last bit at least. Yeah, this was such a pleasure to be a part of. Something that I would want everybody to kind of take away from this. Be gentle towards yourself. I think we are all so hard on ourselves lately, especially with just the constant view of social media and the pressures on the outside of just how we should be. And understand that failure is completely okay. And you can fall, you can get back down, but you will always get back up. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna say. And feel your emotions. I also need to take away with that, but feel your feelings.
Awesome. Thank you for everybody saying, sharing that as well. Second thing that I like to do is to thank all of you that are listening live. Without you, this event's impact would not have touched many lives to come. Lastly, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Sun Life and Unsinkable, for their participation and support. Unsinkable would like to invite you to their upcoming events and have a look at their key mental health resources today that may be displayed on the screen right now, so you guys can have a take a look at that. And to conclude the event, with that being said, as your host and facilitator, I'd like to thank you once again for attending this event and staying connected with Unsinkable through our difficulties with the technical issues. We do apologize for that. And Unsinkable would like to see you be a part of their with their various youth programs, that are still currently accepting new participants. So, general little rule of thumb, if you want to go ahead and navigate to that, you can go to their website. We are unsinkable.com. Go to programs, select youth programs, and from there you'll find a link to register. As my final call to action, this is your friendly reminder about the importance of continuing the conversation on mental health. Change begins with you, and guess what? It began today. As for me, you will be seeing me on social media. My social media handle is Hey Marcus Smith across all major platforms. And if you want to be able to find me, you just got to look up in the sky and truly look and see exactly where the positive energy will be. To close the event, we have a closing video from our partner 20 Today, 20 Tomorrow Poetry to take us home through their visualization of what back to school means within the powerful means of poetry. Take it away.
Time's up, pens down.
Tight tropes we walk between exams and our dreams. While it takes up a good chunk of our lives, there's a whole world waiting for our mark to set.
A ceaseless race seems to evoke, time and time again, losing control. Anxiety's grip, looking for an escape to prevent the fall.
A shared burden between us, an untold understanding that we turn to cope. Friends, loved ones, and music that hold us in a warm embrace.
Deep breaths, reminders we're not alone. Exercise and meditation presents its grace.
We keep walking this path, we'll leave our mark and dream of all the things we are yet to get.